Hi, everybody. We're here at Thursday Night Live with Dede Palmer from Altered Bridal. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Sure thing.
So we kind of tend to just kind of chat for a little bit, kind of off the record, getting started so that everybody has a chance to jump on. Tell us just a little bit about where you are, because you used to be in a different location.
Yeah, so we originally opened in the Waldo area. We were right about 70. But we've been in Leawood now for 3 years.
Okay.
Well, almost, it'll be 3 years in July, I guess. We moved here in 14.
And tell them where you are in Leawood.
So we're in the Park Place shopping area of Leawood. We're across the street from T-Loft. Everyone loves T-Loft. But Park Place is not town center. It's actually across the street from town center. So we're 116th Street, basically.
Yeah. And a great feel to it. It's kind of like Zona Rosa for those people from up north.
Yeah, it's just there's office space as well as some residential living and then some really great shops. Most of them are local here to Kansas City. Bella Bridesmaid is our next door neighbor, so that's convenient for people. Yeah. It's a great little community of small businesses. Yeah, so we like it.
Yeah. And as you can see, beautiful, beautiful space. So I did want to go ahead and just remind everybody that if you want to jump on, say hi so that we know that you're here. We will take your questions at the end of our interview and just kind of go through some of those, but would love to show Dede some love and show that we've got some viewers out there. So jump on, say hi in the comments, and we'll look forward to taking your questions at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started. Kind of tell us your story, your background, where'd you come from, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm originally from Wichita, so I grew up in Wichita all my life, then went to K-State, got my undergrad in accounting, and then also got a master of accountancy. So then moved to Kansas City and state and local taxes. Very exciting stuff, people, I'm telling you.
Totally opposite of the bridal industry.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little. People are like, how did you get into bridal?
Yeah.
And really, people always ask, oh, did you always want to own a bridal shop? But no, not necessarily. I've always loved shopping for bridal gowns with friends and have been the one to pick the one. So it really was a matter of, I knew that I kind of wanted my own business at some point. After 13 years in state and local tax, I was getting a little unenthusiastic about it, to say the least. And so I took a class on how to write a business plan, and I tried to think of a business that I would absolutely not tire of. And so Bridal Boutique kind of came to mind, and did a little research. And during it was an 8-week course. So, each week you would learn another piece of the business plan and things to think about. And just really one thing led to another. And I signed the lease a few months after taking the class. I was thinking,
during college, was it that you met your husband?
I met my husband, let's see, I was out of college. We met here in Kansas City, well, reacquainted here in Kansas City, I should say, in 2000. Yeah, in 2000. So I had been in Kansas City for about almost a year at that point, and had said if I did not have a reason to stay in Kansas City, I think it was by August 1st, that I was going to move somewhere, glamorous, right, like New York or LA or Chicago. And then we ran into each other after many years, I should say. And he was my reason to stay. So, and we reacquainted in June. So got close to August 1st.
He was pushing that accountant deadline.
I tell you what, and he had lived in Denver and it just, so it was meant to be.
Fates aligned,
yeah. It did.
Well, and your shopping experience for your wedding gown kind of led to how you perceive your business here. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So when I decided that a bridal boutique might be a fun business to run, I thought a lot about my experience. And I think that's how a lot of people start their own business, or, they have an experience and maybe they want to create a different experience, or, grow whatever the idea was there, you know. So for me, bridal shopping experience it was fun, but we showed up to the first place. The stores will remain nameless. I did shop here in Kansas City. Two of them aren't here anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter. But we were just kind of left to our own, you know, provide your own service. We kind of walked in and it wasn't real warm and fuzzy. It was kind of a self-serve, find your bridal gown, figure out how to put on a bridal gown by yourself, which is not as easy as one would think. And so anyway, left the first store. I found a dress that I absolutely loved. I absolutely loved it. And then, but we decided to go to the next store, and it's like the same thing happened. I don't know if it was just us, but we were well behaved. So, but we ended up going to the other store. And again, we didn't have a dedicated sales consultant. There was a sales consultant kind of bouncing around. And so we just kind of felt once again stranded, trying to figure out, you know, where do we go get a bridal gown? How do I fit into this small dressing room to try on the bridal gown?
Put on a bridal gown.
I know. And I was wanting I was of the era where it was A-line ball, you know, ball gown. Fitted really wasn't all that popular, I don't think. And so again, dress that I really liked. It was again, I just didn't feel good about buying a dress from somewhere where I was kind of not receiving really great service. So, and I knew that there was going to be steps after we purchased the dress where I would need good customer service. So we ventured on to the third store. I was down to just my mom and a very good friend. Once again, it must have been a very popular style, but we once again found a dress that was similar but different to the first two that I had tried on and really liked. And we actually did have someone that was helping us and had that one-on-one attention. And so at that point, it was just like, yeah, I mean, clearly I like this style of dress. Right. My mom was supportive, and my best friend cried, and I had picked her wedding dress because it made me cry. And so we just decided that that must be the one. Yeah. So, yeah.
So how did that translate into your business? What did that create as far as how Altar Bridal does things different?
Yeah, so when I was creating Altar Bridal, customer service and having to the door truly was our number one goal. Yes, we needed to sell dresses. There were bills to pay and rent and all of that good stuff. But I just really I knew that if people enjoyed their experience, that they would send their friends back, regardless of them making a purchase or not.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that was happening, and it was great. And so I was glad that worked. And so the customer service was very important. You never share a sales consultant. You always have a dedicated person that's working with you, that's truly thoughtful and listening to you and listening to So, and we also were very aware that we didn't have everyone's dress, and that was okay.
Yeah.
Because I was also very specific about the styles that I was wanting to carry. The whole purpose of Altar Bridal was to pretty much bring designers to Kansas City that weren't already represented in Kansas City. Yeah. And at the time when I opened, which is now 7 years ago, there hadn't been a new store in Kansas City for, I want to say, at least 12 years. It might have been 15 years. And so I just wanted to bring in fresh designers. And so when we opened, we carried designers that absolutely no one else carried. We've changed that a little bit just because designers that are in one store. But right now, I think we only have 2 designers that you might be able to find at another store. And even then, we all carry different dresses by that designer, because no store will ever own every single dress the designer puts out every season. Yeah. It's just not financially possible for a store to do that, quite frankly, right. If we're being frank. So yeah, that was the approach. And I think that we have definitely established ourselves as a store that takes great care of our brides, and from beginning to end. And, we've bent over backwards. We have done no shortage of overnighting things and, getting dresses.
Not that we're promoting that.
Not that we're promoting that. Yeah, it's not our favorite time. Things,
we'll do it if we have to.
Yeah, we will go to great lengths to make sure that at the end of the day, the brides who purchase a gown or a pair of shoes or a pair of earrings are 100% happy with their experience. And
So, and something that I love too is that when you first opened, especially, you were focusing on local, and talk about that as far as
so that is a hard thing, made in the USA, and finding local that really fit, maintain, and stay true to. It's difficult, but we were very lucky in that we have Candida Allison. She's a local dress and wedding gown designer. She's been making dresses for a few decades, I think, and she's so talented. And she was a great mentor, actually, at the beginning, telling us things that we otherwise weren't thinking about. A lot of local accessories we had. We probably, at any given time, we probably had anywhere from, I want to say 5 to 8 local wares in our store by designers. So that was always fun. Girls really like a touch of Kansas City. I know there was a trend, and I think it's still around, where people really wanted their weddings to be locally.
Right.
You know, they wanted all their vendors to be local. They wanted local food. And so for those girls, when you could tell them, yeah, we have a design here in Kansas City, that was really exciting for them. Yeah. And my store manager even makes dresses. So, and she does all the flower girls, her and her mom. So that's really fun. And our brides really enjoy dressing their flower girls.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's great.
Well, so moving from a space of corporate accounting into owning your own business, and I know that can sometimes be a big transition in a relationship. And so how did that impact you and your husband and your children?
Yeah. So I had a almost 5-year-old and a almost 1-year-old. I think she was almost 1. Yeah. Just turned 1. I don't remember. Oh my gosh, this is awful. She was born in 2009. I opened in 2010. So yes, she was 1. I guess she was almost 1 while we were doing the build out and everything. Because I have pictures of her in her baby carrier by the hard hats and everything in the construction zone. So those are for the baby. But my husband was also self-employed. He's a photographer. Does not really do wedding photography unless he absolutely has to, but or for friends and family. He likes doing it for them. But he's so supportive. I mean, I sometimes think back, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, okay, you're gonna open a bridal shop. Cool." There was never any like, "Are you sure? What if it doesn't work out?" It was just, he was so super supportive. So he was stay-at-home dad when I was in the corporate world. So when I was still technically in the corporate world for the first 2 years of the store, because I did both. I did the store and still had my corporate job at a reduced workload. I was not full-time. I was about 75%. But yeah, 2 phones, 2 laptops, 2 careers. That was definitely challenging. I worked every Saturday. Yeah. So he was at home alone with 2 kids to entertain pretty much all day until our daughter went into school full time. So he's been great. Yeah. And I mean, he's very handy. So if you ever come into our store, if you've been into our store, that sign right there, altar, he actually fashioned that. He didn't cut the letters out, but that was from our old store. We had that sign and it was on a big wall. So he created that little thing, and he built all the fixtures in the store. He made this right here. He made so yeah, he's very supportive. Yeah, and in our very first space, he basically, him and his buddy, who's a contractor, did a large part of the build out and for me. So he's amazing.
Well, and he has a social entrepreneurial aspect to what he does too.
He does. Are you talking about Solid Studio? Okay. Yeah. So he does like I said, he's a photographer, but it's a very different type of photography that he has found himself in the last 7 years diving into. Long story short, I had a friend at work who had a baby, but then had to make a difficult decision to redirect care and take the baby off life support. And the baby was born with a fatal condition. And I just kind of offhandedly asked my husband one evening, how would you feel like, if she wanted pictures without the wires and stuff like that? And I think it just got him thinking, and he started researching it. And then next thing you know, he had contacted Children's Mercy to do contract photography with, or volunteer. He started out as a volunteer there, and he was just, you know, if you ever have a family that wants pictures for any reason whatsoever, there's a negative outcome or anything like that, that he would like to do that. So he actually got his first call a week after our daughter was born. So that was a little scary for him, to go into that type of situation. But yeah, it just kind of kept moving forward, and I'm super proud of him because all on his own, without his accountant wife, set up and formed a 501c3, which he just received that status last year. So it's called the Solace Studio. And yeah, he just basically helps families navigate the death of a child through pictures. So it really becomes a large part of their healing process. And when people say, gift.
Yeah, that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
So tell me, since he's been so supportive, and that obviously hasn't been part of your struggle, what's been your biggest struggle, you feel like, as an entrepreneur in this industry?
I think feeling successful is a huge struggle. Fear of failure is a huge struggle. Just, you've put yourself out there, and you will always have people asking you, how's the business? How's the business? How's the business? Yeah. And, you know, there are days when I don't think people really want to know how the business is. And then there are days when I'm like, it's great. It's a roller coaster. And so I think just keeping yourself positive is a big part of, and you will have highs and lows, and just kind of looking at the big picture and staying focused and not getting discouraged, that may fully appreciate what you're trying to do. Ones that do get it, they make up for everything, because especially our brides are so awesome. We've just had the greatest brides ever, and they're so supportive, and they come in and visit us when they're shopping, and it's just fun. To be a small part of someone's big day, and they'll still come in years later and show off their babies to us. Right. And yeah, I mean, we have one bride who sends us a Christmas card every year, and so we get updates on our daughters, and it's so fun. Yeah.
So what do you feel like your moment where you felt like, okay, this feels like success? What was that moment for you?
I would say success is when people are, referrals is a huge thing. That makes me feel successful. When somebody who's shopped with us, whether or not they bought or not, sends someone to us, that's them basically saying, I trust you with my friend, or a mom that brings a second daughter back in. She's like, is saying, we had such a great experience that I'm willing to do this all over with you again. And she had 3 daughters. The first daughter bought a dress, I would say within 6 months of each other. And they came in and shopped, not at the exact same time. One went first and then the second. And they both found their dress. In fact, funny enough, all 3 of them were the exact same designer, which was fun. And by no intention of theirs, right. It just happened that way. And I'll never forget, the mom said, I think Sarah had asked them maybe if they were shopping somewhere, if they had appointments anywhere else. And she goes, well, no, we knew we'd find our dress here, and we wanted you to take care of us. Aww. And that's all 3 of their daughters. And that was just like the biggest compliment ever. So was there a moment where you were able to transition from that fear of failure into feeling successful? Was there something that happened for you? Your documentary. My documentary. You said that you had watched a documentary. Oh yes. So behind the scenes, we already kind of talked this a little bit. No, remind her. But yes, there was this moment. Yes, thank you. I know you're trying to prompt me. It's okay. I'm like trying to blank. No, there was a moment when I became completely okay with failure. I was watching a documentary about a big time guy. I want to say it was the guy who started The Gap, or one of those. And then he ended up getting fired from his own company that he started. Yeah. And so he lost everything, millions. And he just talked a lot about like yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out and you just move on to the next thing. And I was, watching these big time millionaires lose millions. Mm-hmm. And I just realized I needed to stop stressing about little things. I mean, I know I'm a smart person. I have my degree. It's not like I only have this business. This business is not me.
Right.
It's something that I do. And yes, I want to be successful and work hard at it. But it's not me. Yeah. Necessarily. And so I was able to take the fear of failure away because I was no longer afraid to fail. I saw it more as a learning experience. Oh, well, that was a dumb mistake. Just don't do it again. Yeah. So that was big. And then I will say, and I would recommend this to anyone who owns their own business. We all love hate reviews because not everyone, we can't all have perfect reviews. There's always going to be someone that saw things a little bit differently maybe than you did, and they do a bad review. And I used to lay in bed and think about that one bad review for a week. And I just had a really hard time letting my biases and businesses and their bad reviews, and you'll realize, and you'll know their business, and you'll start to see these bad reviews in a different light. Yeah. That you realize you're not projecting that onto the business owner. Right. You're just kind of taking it with a grain of salt. And there might be some good things in there to, warn a consumer, but for the ones that are just mad you didn't have what they were looking for, well, you can't do anything about that. You just got to let it roll off your back. So, when you go out to other businesses and see, it's not just you. Yeah. Strangely, it makes you feel better.
Yeah. No, well, and part of what that does, once you release that fear of the failure part of it, it releases the creativity. And it so seems to allow us to just kind of breathe and be confident in what it is that we're creating and truly let it be a projection of what it is that we want it to be.
Right. And a little less about what other people are going to think. Yeah. Just be yourself and do the business, stay true to what you want to do. And it always makes you feel better.
Yeah. And that's what brides love about you. I mean, that's definitely the reputation that you have in the city of you are unique. You are not a big box bridal store.
Yeah. And we're very personal. So we give our brides hugs and, they're great. Like I said before, they're babies.
If we have any questions here, and give me just a minute. Filler. Okay. And
oh boy, that's my voice.
Let's see. Miranda Green, thanks for joining us. She says, my appointment at Altar is July 1st. Can't even wait.
Yay! We're excited to have you in.
Yeah. Mike Smith, Mike Side, thanks for joining us. As always, you guys are always with us, it seems like. So thanks for being here. So we didn't have any other questions, but and we're almost out of time. But thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
To everybody else, thanks for joining in. And if you have questions after this, please feel free to leave questions in the comments, and either Dede or myself will get back in touch with you. So have a great night. Thanks. Awkward ending broadcast.